Two quarterbacks, one job. We look at what tonight's game tells us about who will lead the Broncos offense.
A young woman killed in her apartment in Denver.
But there's just no words. There haven't been words for a while.
Among those overwhelmed by her murder, her boss. We'll hear from him tonight.
An emotional day in court in Denver. Taylor Swift's mother brought to tears. It was an emotional day at the Taylor Swift trial in downtown Denver. The singer's mother was in tears at times while on the witness stand. Andrea Swift said that former DJ David Mueller was the first person that her daughter had ever accused of assault in her career. Mueller's facing a civil trial over accusations that he groped Swift during a meet and greet at the Pepsi Center. Swift's mother said that she was so upset she wanted to cry and vomit. She said the incident is the reason that her daughter no longer feels comfortable performing in the crowd at concerts. Before she took the stand, Mueller finished his testimony this morning. He admitted that while he only touched Swift's rib cage with a closed fist, a photo shows his hand quite a bit lower than that. He's suing Swift for damages for losing his job at KYGO Radio. She's countersuing for $1 for assault and battery. At some point, Taylor Swift herself is expected to testify.
We are waiting to hear from the judge in the Taylor Swift trial about whether Swift should even be involved in a loose lawsuit filed by a former Denver DJ. Swift's team says David Mueller didn't present enough evidence to the jury to back up his claims that the pop star ruined his career. Swift's team says she shouldn't be named in the suit at all and that his beef is with KYGO and not with Taylor Swift. In court today, the jury heard from Swift's former bodyguard, Greg Dent. Dent was feet away from Swift when that meet and greet photo was taken and the alleged assault occurred. He says he distinctly remembers David Mueller and his girlfriend at the time, Shannon Melcher. He said of Melcher and that Mueller that he went to put his arm around Swift and his hand went under her skirt. Melcher said she didn't notice anything odd happening, but did remember the situation being awkward. Also, Mueller's co-host at the KYGO show testified this morning. He said he had been close friends with Mueller for years and that he'd never seen him disrespect a woman. If the judge decides to throw out Mueller's case, Taylor Swift can decide whether to throw out her countersuit. For now, the jury is expected back on Monday morning for closing arguments.
Sienna Johnson paid the price today for plotting a Columbine-style attack on her high school back in 2015. The Douglas County teenager will spend up to 5 years in prison for the plans that she and a classmate hatched to kill 500 people at Mountain Vista High School. 9 Wants to Know investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn was in court today, and Kevin, authorities took this plot seriously.
Christine, Johnson expressed remorse in court for the plans she made with classmate Brooke Higgins, apologizing and telling the judge he wouldn't see her in trouble again. But it was also very clear why she faced real consequences for an assault that never happened.
Lists firearms, it lists prices. Clearly, Sienna Johnson had been doing research about obtaining these weapons, how much it would cost.
Prosecutor Jason Sears found the girl's journal entries jolting.
A lot of these weapons were the same weapons used in the Columbine massacre.
And wanted everyone to know this plot was serious.
And certainly there appears to be a fascination, an obsession, frankly, using that event as some sort of blueprint for what should be done here.
Those words brought a rebuke from Judge Paul A. King.
The killers in Jefferson County at Columbine High School are not to be adulated. They murdered innocent people.
But it was also the words of Johnson herself in tape-recorded interviews with a detective that underscored the prosecutor's point. She talked of Columbine, of the plans, and of her own despair.
If I'm going to be honest, I looked at them as like gods. Like I just found what they did very
ballsy.
Yeah, I don't know. I really connected to them, I guess. I could really see myself just doing that. Someone told Brooke that I was like an evil mother or something like that. And then Brooke like asked me if she was like, let's shoot up the school, I'm not joking. And I was down because I had been planning that for like a few months. I don't see a point in life really. Like I don't want to be a part of this world, and I don't think anyone deserves to live really.
Ultimately, it'll be up to Johnson to decide where she takes her life.
Just take advantage of this opportunity that's been given to you. Live a productive life, and as you said, don't appear back before me or any other judge in this matter. That is my hope and wish for you.
Christine, we should note that Johnson's accomplice, Brooke Higgins, pleaded guilty earlier this year to similar charges. She's serving a 3-year prison sentence, and then she faces her own period of probation where she'll be supervised by the court.
All right, Ken, we appreciate that update. Thank you.
There is growing concern among the fan base that the Broncos do not have a quarterback on the roster capable of being a quality starter, and tonight's game did nothing to calm those fears. Trevor Siemian looked fine. He was efficient. He was calm. He was a bit boring. Trevor completed 6 of 7 passes for 51 yards, but led just 1 scoring drive, and it was a field goal. Not a great night for the third-year quarterback.
I thought it was good. You know, we got in a little rhythm offensively the first couple series there, which was good. Would have liked to score it, obviously. But I think there's things we can build on. But, again, first time out there, I think pretty good.
Maybe the concern is he thought it was good. The problem is that Paxton Lynch is doing nothing to take control of the position. In fact, he might be losing ground in the competition. Lynch completed a few short passes late to improve his line, but for the most part looked uncomfortable and not ready to start.
I thought I did pretty well. I know when I first came out, we had some penalties kind of set us back. But then when we came out after halftime, we got the ball rolling a little bit. But just like Coach Joseph said, we had a lot of penalties kind of set us back, and I think that they kind of forced us to kind of take what we could get out there and not take a lot of shots tonight. But I thought we did a good job besides the penalties.
Trust me, those guys know better than I do, so if they say it was good, maybe it was. Kyle Sloter stole the show. Touchdown pass to Isaiah McKenzie led 2 fourth-quarter touchdown drives to help the Broncos to a fourth-quarter win over the Bears. Sloter from northern Colorado. He was brought in as a camp arm because Chad Kelly's not ready to play right now, and I can promise you that John Elway was not wanting the quarterback of note to be Kyle Sloter after preseason game number 1.
But perhaps, as you point out, everything that we've heard on the radio and on local television is wrong, and they actually both are doing really well.
They said it was great. They've played the game a lot longer than I have. Maybe I should defer.
More experience. There will be time to discuss all of this.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be debated.
I have no doubt. In a moment, we'll take a closer look at Vance Joseph's first game as the Broncos head coach, and you will have your chance to weigh in on the team's performance in this first game of the preseason. Christina Weir volunteered to stay late at work all the time because she wanted help. Christina Weir went to Red Rocks because she loved music and everything the state had to offer. Christina Weir is Denver's latest murder victim. There is no explanation yet that makes any sense of her stabbing at her apartment in 5 Points last Monday. Those who knew her best are left to try and answer that question of why. 9 News reporter Dan Grossman spoke with Christina's manager at the employment company where she worked.
And Kyle, you know, that manager said Christina would come in early, she would stay late, and she had a quiet confidence that didn't only bond the people around her, but really bonded the company. That's why so many are confused as to why a woman who was so modest would have this happen to her.
It's been brutal. I mean, it's been brutal watching that team.
The crime happened here, a seemingly senseless one that left 28-year-old Christina Weir dead with 3 stab wounds. Police say they came at the hands of Estefan Hamlin. But the crime and the loss of Christina wasn't confined to those who live in this area of 5 Points.
But there's just no words. There haven't been words for a while.
It spread to the homes of those who knew Christina best.
You know, when you lose someone you love, it's hard enough, but when it wasn't their choice.
Ben Wright knew.
It wasn't their choice. It's just a real tough pill to swallow.
Knew that when he hired Christina as one of his first employees at Velocity Global 2 years ago, he had hired a leader.
No, Christina wasn't just an employee.
It's why he also knew he had to fly his entire employment firm of 40 people out to her home state of Virginia for the funeral, a time when the gravity of what had happened sank in.
Just you think about how scared she must have been. I don't know. It's pretty tough. Yeah, it's pretty tough. We're gonna miss her.
Police say they found Hamlin because his mother called them, saying she didn't recognize the car he'd been driving and that he'd stolen cars in the past. Now they'll work to learn why this 28-year-old was killed.
It's been horrible, man. It's been horrible, but it's getting better every day.
Now, Hamlin has a long arrest record that shows multiple car thefts in the past. One of the more recent ones came last year on a nearby block here on 25th Street. Now, talking with this company, they said that they give out a scholarship, a grant for the highest paying employee. They said they are going to name that monetary benefit after Christina in the future. Kyle.
Dan Grossman reporting. Thank you, Dan.
Are you ready for the space spectacle of the year? The continental United States will witness its first total solar eclipse since 1979. Here's how it happens. On August 21st, the moon will pass between the sun and the Earth, creating a shadow on our planet right in the middle of the day. The phenomenon typically only lasts for about 2 minutes for anyone standing in the eclipse's path. It will be a multi-sensory experience. 11 states will undergo 1 to 3 minutes of darkness, but you must be in the center line to experience the full total solar eclipse. The center line, where totality occurs, will cross through Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina. Only one big city has a great view. Nashville will experience over 2 minutes of totality. The rest of us must travel to be in the zone. After the total eclipse in August, Americans won't get the chance to see a solar eclipse until 2024.